Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're doing something that might sound a little out there at first, because we're bridging the sterile, equation-filled whiteboards of modern physics with the epic, ancient battlefields of the Bhagavad Gita. I know it sounds like an impossible connection, right? But stick with me because we are going to explore how these two seemingly opposite worlds actually combine to give us a real blueprint for reality, and honestly, help us understand exactly how our own minds work. So, what if I told you that some of the absolute greatest minds in modern science, guys like J. Robert Oppenheimer and the founding fathers of quantum mechanics, were completely, deeply obsessed with 5,000-year-old Sanskrit texts? It's true. They actually found a conceptual framework in the Gita that helped them process the totally mind-bending realities they were uncovering in the lab. Albert Einstein hit the nail on the head when he said imagination is more important than knowledge. To really grasp these massive universal laws, we have to stretch our thinking. Our sources point out something fascinating. If we just assume the physical laws we experience every day in our little material corner of existence are the absolute limit of reality, well, we just aren't being creative enough. There could be entire other sets of laws operating right around us all the time that we simply aren't perceiving yet. Let's kick things off with part 1, conservation of the Atman. Think about the first law of thermodynamics for a second. It's the classic rule that energy cannot be created or destroyed. To make this super tangible, just picture burning a log of wood in a campfire. When that wood burns away, the energy it held isn't destroyed, not even a little bit. It just transforms into heat, light, and ash. The total amount of energy in the universe remains exactly, perfectly the same. Now, what is absolutely fascinating is how perfectly this ancient spiritual idea mirrors our modern scientific laws. Chapter 2, verse 20 of the Gita tells us that the soul, the Atman, is never born and never dies. It's totally unbreakable. If you put that into physics terms, death is basically just a phase transition. The core energy and information remain constant, while the physical vessel just transforms into something else. Moving right along to part 2, karma and mental entropy. Okay, so the second law of thermodynamics is all about entropy, which is essentially the universe's measure of disorder. Left to their own devices, physical systems naturally drift towards chaos. The absolute easiest way to picture this is to think of a teenager's bedroom. You know the drill. Without constant, deliberate energy put in to clean it up, that room naturally gets messier, more chaotic, and way more disorganized as the days go by. That is literally entropy in action. And this law of physics brilliantly illustrates what happens inside our own heads. Just like that messy bedroom, when our minds are left totally unchecked and constantly bombarded with daily desires and worries, they naturally drift toward anxiety and burnout. In the physics world, this mental worry is essentially friction. You're basically revving a mechanical engine while it's stuck in neutral. You're creating a ton of heat, burning through your precious fuel, but you're getting absolutely zero forward movement. Which brings us to part 3, chapter 10, quantum interconnectedness. In the world of modern physics, quantum entanglement is this totally mind-bending phenomenon where particles remain so deeply connected that the state of one instantly influences the other, no matter how far apart they are in the universe. Einstein was famously weirded out by this and called it spooky action at a distance. Combine that with superposition, which shows us things can exist in multiple states or places simultaneously until someone actually observes them. To help people wrap their heads around this kind of underlying reality, the ancient Upanishads used a really brilliant analogy: a spider's web. See, the spider acts as the intelligent cause. It actually knows where, how, and when to spin the web. But it's also the material cause, because it physically produces that incredibly resilient, sticky substance right from its own body. In modern terms, you can think of this as the universal constants or quantum fields that both dictate the laws of the universe and literally form the fabric of it. The intelligence designing the thing is indistinguishable from the actual material substance itself. Chapter 10 dives deep into this concept of the one in many. It's like just as a single lump of gold can be melted down and appear as a ring or a bangle or a chain, the underlying substance is always just gold. The names change, the forms change, but the core reality doesn't. And this mirrors the standard model of physics perfectly. In physics, all these wildly different particles we see are really just excitations of underlying unified quantum fields. So when you look at it, this huge, diverse physical world, you are really just looking at different manifestations of the exact same unified base reality. That brings us to this incredibly beautiful verse. Everything in the universe is connected to me, like pearls strung on a thread. Imagine a necklace made up of completely different pearls. Big ones, small ones, round ones, weird shapes. Even though they all look so distinct on the surface, they're held together by the same invisible thread underneath. Thousands of years before we ever had the math to prove quantum entanglement or unified fields, these ancient texts were already describing a deeply interconnected cosmic reality. Let's bring this down to earth with Part 4, the thermodynamics of equanimity. So if reducing our own entropy is the goal, we really need to look at what a perfectly balanced system actually is. In physics, this state is called thermal equilibrium. Picture a really high-quality thermos. You can pour boiling hot coffee into that thing, walk straight out into a freezing winter blizzard, and the inside remains at a perfectly stable, uniform temperature. It is entirely unaffected by the chaos going on outside. Well, the Gita has an exact psychological equivalent to this physical state, and it's called samatvam, or equanimity. A truly wise person remains unshaken, whether they're dealing with pleasure or pain, crushing failure, or massive success. By practicing detachment, you are essentially building a mental thermos for yourself. You're isolating your internal energy from all that external chaos, creating a highly efficient, perfectly balanced system inside your own mind. And that brings us to our final piece, Part 5, Achieving Zero Entropy. Here is the ultimate formula from the text for absolute energy efficiency in your life. First up, accept impermanence. You have to know that, just like energy, life is constantly transforming. Second, practice nishkama karma. That means performing your duties selflessly without being emotionally chained to the success or failure of what you're doing. And third, surrender the outcomes. Doing this effectively plugs that mental energy leak we talked about earlier, drastically reducing your mental entropy and friction. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. We are all bound by these incredible, unbreakable laws of energy, whether you look at it scientifically or spiritually. Every time you stress over a future outcome, you're just revving your engine in neutral. So ask yourself, are you using your energy efficiently to build your own mental thermos, or are you fighting the universe by clinging to outcomes you simply cannot control? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning everything, keep expanding your imagination, and I'll see you in the next one.